Okay. Today is the 24th, so it's Christmas Eve. Uh, and as a target individual, you know, I don't care much about those holidays. I am just on a daily basis thankful. Um, because one thing as target individual, no, every day is gonna be a day of torment. You, Christmas, whatever holidays, it's never gonna stop. At least for most of us. And so I've accepted that. I don't expect that Christmas will be a different day in regard of what I'm going to experience. And that's what I'm expecting. I don't expect anything less. But in fact, I even find it bizarre that they end on Christmas. That I won't be tormented on Christmas Day. But I'm just thankful to God because what's happening to me is happening to many others. We are just used as guinea pigs. We are human subjects and we are manipulated in the most disturbing ways. The technology that's implemented to us is obviously coming from entities, coming from massive government. You know, they utilize us like guinea pigs basically, and this technology can do so much. It's super sophisticated. You know, it's not some random people next door doing that to you. You know that this kind of you understand that this is obviously bigger than you. You understand that, and then you give validation of that. You understand that this is extremely massive in regard of sophistication, resources, organizations, and just like control. This is global. It's easy to piece things together to realize, obviously, whatever psyop or whatever bubble they try to create around you to make you believe that it's something else but this massive government doing that to you, it's just this organization trying to change the reality of things. So for me, as much as I sometimes get lost in this bottom feeders that they contract. So as a target individual, you're surrounded by perps. These perps are supposed to create a distorted reality around you. They're supposed to make you believe things that you know is not true. They vilify you, and this technology has the capability to manipulate you in so many ways. I deal with synthetic telepathy, and V2K, and direct energy. What's happening to my body is like slowly organ failure. Body is just breaking down. My skin is just breaking down too. Everything just a slow kill. Slowly dying. And I'm not unique to that. And when I speak like that, I'm not saying it in even a sad way. It's just bizarre. I will never, in any other circumstances, I would feel, if it was a natural cause, I would feel very sad. But there is dignity in this slow death that I'm experiencing, because it's like you you feel this level of dignity. First of all, they do degrading things to you, right? You shouldn't feel dignity, but because the reality of things are just so obvious, it's just like, man, I could live my life. I could have been a healthy individual with stability in my life, and ability to do whatever I want, but doing what they do. Throughout my time as a target individual, I keep finding more and more and more and more and more validation, and it's just like it's not stopping. It's like more, it gets worse in the sense that who is involved in this, what they do, it's just like I get more validation. So today, even though I'm in worse condition in regard of my body, my health, even my sanity, I'm still in a better situation in regard of how I perceive things, how I love myself more. On August 19, 2019, when I started experiencing V2K synthetic telepathy, it was so obvious, it was so destructive to me and so hard for me to deal with it. I really contemplated death, suicide. I almost got to that point. But once I discovered the TI stories and what was happening and understanding what's happening to me, I just immediately stopped that thought. It ended there, and realized, man, I'm just so thankful. I understand what this is about. As first of all, I understand that there's people much more vulnerable than me that had to endure this for longer than me. Some of them even had children. And so I was like, what if these people had dealt with this for that many years? Me, why would I be like, who am I to be this weak when people with more vulnerability, more things going on with them endured for longer? And now that I understand what this is about, I can't even, like, it just makes no sense. The last few days, I discovered more things about the entities running this program. It's obvious, it's validating to know that the Department of Defense of this country, which is the most influenceable entity, the number one in the world, there is no other entity like the DoD in the world. The level of resources, the level of technology, the level of power, the level of influence, there is no other in the world that can even get closer to the DoD. Nothing. It is the entity, the most powerful entity in the world. There is no other entity that the DoD in the world. There's nothing comparable. And this is the entity that is behind this thing. Of course, it's involved in this. This level of financial incentives to involve so many people, to like, it's just, this is that kind of entity. Just the annual budget for next year looks like it's going to be close to $900 billion. Maybe a few millions away from that. Maybe 10 or 20 millions away from that. There is no even, if you combine maybe the next 7 biggest spender countries, it's just ridiculous. Now, why am I bringing that up? As a target individual, we are manipulated in so many ways. As you can see, I'm speaking very fatigued. Lungs are just kind of slowly fading away. I'm running out of breath when I speak. But this is like, it's dignified. We get this disgusting manipulation. Today was just nasty of manipulation. Actually, I love watching these videos where, they give money away, they like crispy, and then there's these people who do that in college setting, right, in college schools and university. And at one point there was like this person that were giving away some gift or whatever, and in the background I saw somebody who looked younger than a regular college student, and I was like, oh my gosh, this college student looked very young. I would think she was a teenager, but actually the closer you saw this, there was a whole family, and then it made sense. She was like a teenage kid. But they would try to create this like perception that, thankfully, I take pictures of the things they do, because when you look back, you're like, oh my gosh, you see how I'm looking at her now? Now perception changed. They try to create her in a different light in my brain, and I will go back and I'm seeing her for the kid that she is. She look like a 16-year-old kid, and it's just the things I'm forced to deal with. As a target individual, like I said, my body is being destroyed. My organs are being destroyed. My gastro organs are destroyed. My intestines, who knows what's happening there, because, and I don't want to be too graphic, when I use the restroom, things seems like to not go through the same way. So I know they're destroying my organs there. But the most tormenting thing is the psychological torture. I know there'll be a point I'll be screaming in pain because I'll be hurting so much. But I got close to screaming because of the psychological aspect of things. And I was like, I'm not even like in pain, but I'm just disturbed to wanting to scream. And it's because the way they manipulate you, right? It's so extreme in regard of the manipulation and disgusting. One tactic they like to do is this pedophilia type of tormenting. It is so nasty. But I'm starting with this because, where I want to end it is just kind of validating. I've talked about the pedophilia type of torture. I've spoken about how nasty these people are. These things is what they've done to others. And this technology can connect you to some kind of device that manipulates your thoughts. You're no longer thinking for yourself. You're no longer experiencing yourself as you, but you are being changed into thinking different ways. This is how sophisticated this technology is, and this is why they need guinea pigs. It's because this is a program to continuously improve on the ability to control people, manipulate people's mind. It is this sophisticated. Is for think about MK Ultra, but on another level of technology sophistication. We talk about DARPA involving themselves in that kind of program and other and resources that are extremely high from the DoD. And then they contract people around you who are supposed to make you believe that these manipulations are natural, that you're not being manipulated, but it's organic. Matter of fact, yes, you're being manipulated, but what we're doing is like we're mapping it and matching it to something like some retarded logic that they want you to experience. And it's nasty. And you hear this trash that obviously are civilians, but their job is to get you to accept this nastiness and somehow get you to think of these ways of being manipulated as a way to be rational, to rationalizing this manipulation. They try to create a way to get you to think this way, but the reality, these people are very pedophilia centric, and you understand later on how pedophilia centric they are. And the psyops are all sort of psyop. Parents are involved in this. Children are involved in this. Anybody, like a bunch of people, and they all try to get you to break you down and to accepting these things. But the validation is super immense. It's just so, not only you know yourself, and you'll never subscribe to that. And mind you, you're in isolated states, right? You're by yourself, so it's easier to be when you're isolated. The brainwashing, the manipulations are even better, because it's easier to lose touch of reality. But the validation is just so much. This is why I make videos. They do these manipulations, and you hear they're experiencing the same manipulations. And this manipulation consists of perceptions, thoughts, memory, and body manipulation. They can manipulate your organs, your muscles, all kind of muscles, even from your private area. Your sphincter, and I don't want to be graphic, your male urethra sphincter, if you know what it is, they can make contractions there. And I'm saying that now because I'm going to explain what they do. They can make all your muscle contract. They can make you feel contraction wherever they can. Your body is at one point so manipulated, and this is what this program is about. It's not that there's a purpose, and it's not what these trash are trying to create. And when I call the trash, I'm talking about these perps who today, on a holiday, continue to work in these ways, which is great for them. I mean, I'm happy that they do that. For me, I expect that to happen to me, but I'm just thankful that in my life, I would never, working on holidays, it's okay. I've worked on holidays and I can work on holidays. But working on holidays, doing this nastiness, what a foul way to live life. But I'm glad they do live this life. I just pray that they continue to live this way of living. The way they've manipulated me, for example, I talk about this thing I'm watching is like supposed to be like, these feel goods of like these guys are going around campus and college campus giving like money, gifts, and some of it is funny, some of them is just really wholesome and just like tear-dropping. And when there's like a teenage kid, they will create some kind of perceptions and manipulations, right? And then you hear these bottom feeders who try to make you accept these things, like, oh, you busted. And you hear these people screaming from, the neighbors or people who sound like they're around you. And they're so gimmicky, right? But that's not even the worst. They've been playing my libido so much. So much. At the end, I'm like, if I don't do something about my libido, they're gonna continuously play with my libido. And when I say play with my libido, they make me think of babies and then play with my libido to condition me to think about children when aroused. They do these things. Arouse me, make me think of children. Arouse me, make me think of children. Make me think of children, start creating some arousals. Nastiness. To train your brain in these ways. Like I said, very pedophilia centric. You know, when I was like discovering these things, like when it all started, I was like, what kind of people come up with these tactics? Like, what? This is just like, it takes a special mind. And I remember even the video I was making, it was like what kind of state of mind would you be able to be to be okay with that, right? What state of mind? Like, I don't understand. Like, listen, to let's just say, like, even if you detest somebody, it's like, okay, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna make him think about kids and then play with his libido, arouse him and then think about kids. Right? It is like, ooh, it's like, we gonna do that? So what does he make us? Right? It's just, even that's disgusting. Like, I understand if you hate me, you're like, oh, I want you to be screaming in pain and whatever. But I'm like, just the people who say, you know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna make you think about kids and then make you feel sexual arousals, and then gonna condition your brain to think about kids in a sexual way. It's like, what? These people are disgusting. Because this is the tactics they've been utilizing. But the reason why this tactic is utilized is because they try to break your self-image. They want you to identify in these ways. Because you got to understand, this is bigger than me. This is bigger than, there's like a handbook, there's tactics they use, there's protocols, it seems like. Because what they've done to me is not unique to me. They've done that to others. The same ways. So there is something to use this tactic. I think this is the most disturbing ways to break people down. People who deal with this, who are forced to experience these things, is so disturbing that it breaks the self-image. Imagine all of a sudden that's the things you experience. You lose it easily. So obviously, they knew that this is the reaction of what will happen when somebody, but to come up with this idea, it was just like, wow, just, whoa, that's some disgusting shit. Who would think like that? Like, okay, how can we break somebody down? You know what? Start making them think about kids and force them to get sexual arousals. Like, start creating like sexual arousals and children and combine. You know, this is gonna be disturbing enough. Yeah, let's do that. That's why, like, I was like, who can come up with these ways of just disturbing, degrading somebody? Obviously, these tactics works because it is disturbing. But man, and they've been doing that to me. And like I said, they've been playing my libido all throughout the week. It's nasty. And so I'm like, you know what? I've made a lot of video about this already. To stop this libido growth that they continuously play with, let me just remove my libido by watching adult content. You heard me say that many times. But you heard me say a lot of times what happens when that happens, when I do that. When I try to release myself, watch adult content and then release myself. What they do to me during these moments of super vulnerability, during my climaxing. And I know this is private stuff that I'm speaking out loud, and I'm sorry if I'm saying too much about what's happening, but it's the truth. And it's an example of how they are rewiring your brain and training and conditioning your brain. And I'm not perfect. I'm not gonna sit here and be the perfect saint. I'm not that. But I know who I am and I know who I'm not. The nasty things they do while I'm watching adult content, which in my mind, when I say that, they want to say a different word, is during my climaxing, or maybe right after my climaxing, they start implanting thoughts. I try to stay focused because, you know, I'm trying to find a way to not be too graphic when I explain what's happening. So I try to like focus on what I'm watching, right? The two adults having adult moment. And I'm watching that, and when it's time to climax, it's like, oh my gosh, I'll start feeling in my brain, like, it's like they're waiting for when to implant something disturbing. And during my climax, they start giving me like thoughts or sensations or stimulation that they make me experience when they did these things where they were forcing me to get thoughts of children and gain like play with my libido or my stimulations. I'm like, oh no, I'm feeling the things they do to me. Oh no, I was like, and immediately it's like, oh, that's the things they connected with children. I'm like, and I try to shake my head and like, oh no, I hate that feeling because that's when they've done these disgusting things and they have like connected the things they've done to me to torment me via this pedophilia type of torture. And when I climax and I feel this feeling, it's just so disgusting. Like, oh, I feel sick because it brings back, and I'm watching two adult. There's no, just two adult. There's nothing childlike in here, fully, and they make me think of, oh my gosh, and the next door neighbor, the baby, the little girl. I was like, oh my gosh, at the time of my climax, and I'm trying to move my brain, try to be like stop. They want to implant these things while I'm watching this, when I'm climaxing, to condition me like that. It's so nasty. And sometimes what they do, when I just done climaxing, and I don't want to be too graphic, but I want to explain what's happening to me. This is, and I want to, like, it's adult content. It's a man and woman doing things sexual. At the end of my climax, they put this thought of this baby girl, this child, and start giving me the sensation, and on top of that, contracting my sphincter from my urethra, which, because I just climaxed it, there's still some things in it. And so they contract them, and there's things like leakage of some sort. This is the nasty things. It is so disturbing. And when this is happening, I'm here just making noise like I'm being tortured, like physically. Because I'm like, oh no, they're ruining it. It's like, oh my, and I start making weird noise. I'm like, oh my gosh, I couldn't even, I didn't even know I could make this kind of noise. And then you hear, now we matched it. Precious. Yes, they are matching with what they've made me experience before. It's like, no, we matched it. It's like, yes, you match with what you do every time this happened. You match with what I'm experiencing every time. Every time I'm doing this, every time I try to climax, you match it with what you've done to me before. But you guys are pedophilia-centric, because I'm not done. It gets to the point where there is one adult star that I see there. What they've done, and I'm not perfect. Please understand, I'm not here to try to present myself as a perfect person. I have my imperfections, and my imperfections are the things they try to erase. One of the adults started, and please, I don't care about how you judge me in this, but I followed her. I know her. I know she has a child. Once she showed like a picture of her child from the back, a little girl. That you could see like her head and her backpack. And so every once in a while, she rarely did that, but she'll post like a picture of her just quickly, and then whatever. She had a very young child, between 4 and 7, a baby. I'm watching her in this adult content, and all of a sudden they make me think of her baby, and the reaction I'm feeling in real time toward this adult star is then shifted into the baby, her baby, and then they go to in my memories, and you see how they play with the brain. They go into my memories and start implanting this same feeling I'm experiencing right now when I'm looking at the adult star, implanting that into my memory when I saw the baby, her baby. That's quick snippet of, and it's like, you see, we matched it. You felt like that when you saw this. Like, no, of course I didn't feel. It's memory manipulation, as always. Restructuring memories, and they want you to accept these things. It is so disturbing, but this is how they break down target individuals. It's like they want to degrade you, and they want you to accept these manipulations as if it's you. I've understood that they are trying to truly break your self-image. They want you to feel disturbed about you. But that's not going to disturb me, because I know it's not me. You know what would make me feel negative about me? Is when I do my own imperfection. For example, me just watching adult content without this trash implanting these children in my head. Just me doing that. It doesn't feel good. I don't feel good when I do that. And that will make me feel bad, make me feel low. But I don't feel bad when this trash implant babies in my head. Because it's them doing that to me. These people are pedophilia centric. So for this trash, matter of fact, right now in the hallway, this trash in the hallways are making noise campaign to interrupt what I'm saying. They truly want to box in their fantasy. To hear this trash on Christmas days, on birthdays, on their like holidays, doing this is so nasty because of this. They have these tactics of implanting children and having this pedophilia type of tormenting. That is so nasty. Matter of fact, what I just said, I'm watching adult content, sexual content with adults. Right, I've got to precise because these trash try to change things around. While I'm climaxing, they implant children, disturbing as hell. Like I said, this is not going to make me feel bad about me. I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, it's so natural. This is what will happen. Seeing what I'm seeing will not make me think anyways of children naturally. But today, because these bottom feeders are pedophiles, they will make me think of children at the time of my climax when I'm looking at these two things happening, this adult content happening, this sexual content. At the end of my climax, they will try to make me think of some children and create these nasty stimulations and reaction that they've made me experience before. That is so disturbing that even when I feel that, it's like, oh, and I try to interrupt that. I look like I'm having a seizure. Because I'm trying to shake my head to kind of like, stop, don't go. I know it's not going to change anything. I just hope when I do that it kind of disorient things around. And then even when I'm done, they still do these nasty things. Now, so disgusting, so disturbing. But like I said, this is the things they do to others. The pedophilia type of torture is what they do. It's their signature ways of breaking people down. And it's disgusting. But now it's more disgusting than ever. Because you find out the reality of who is running this program. I've talked about, and I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist in a way, like, where people say, oh, there's a bunch of pedophiles and things like that in these like governmental entities. But there's truth to that. The DOD, matter of fact, go look for Bill S-1413. Go look into Operation Flicker. Go read this BuzzFeed article that came in 2021. There's such an issue of pedophilia in those entities who are running this program that is contracting this trash, that are trying to create this. At this point they even say, no, it's our money. Where you, it's like, dumbass. Of course I know it's not your money. Well, I know whose money it is. It's the massive government money, and you're contracted to do your job. And they're even sending this child-like people, I guess, is for more agitation because they want to frustrate you. And the people running this program, this money, where is it coming from? This technology, where is it coming from? These entities, they have had ongoing issue of pedophilia. There was a website, I'm not sure if it's called Child Exploitation something.com. It's basically a website that kind of specific to how to stop child exploitation, child abuse of some sort, nastiness like that. And this website, because this bill S-1413 was a bill to try to stop what's ongoing in these DOD offices, in these Pentagon offices, because according to this Child Protective Service ranking, DOD, the Department of Defense, has been consistently ranked as top-tier networking where child porn has been shared using the same network, the DOD network, and the DOD devices, ranking as a top tier in regard of sharing child pornography. If you have doubts that I'm making this thing up, there's actually a bill that they tried to pass that didn't go through. This website, this child exploitation or stopchildexploitation.com or whatever website it was, I forgot. It's a legit thing. It's there. They were excited and they were happy that this bill was coming up because they obviously are they want to protect children. And they're wanting any bill that can do that. They want to push that. And they were like, there is millions of child porn on the internet. And they said the number, 45 million, something like that. And it's not only the DOD. The reason why they're calling out the DOD is because the DOD is ranked as a top tier network. It's not just any random. They are like top tier. And in that website, they literally say child pornography is in all over the internet. But why we're supporting this bill so much is because the Department of Defense is one of the top networking of this circulation of child pornography. They're ranked in the top tier. So we're pushing that, please stop this. And they talk about Operation Flicker, where it was like, it was a purely accidental. There was this investigation in 2007. They weren't investigating specifically. They were investigating specifically the Pentagon or the employees at the Pentagon. It just ended up there. This international crime ring had a child porn website where people were subscribing to it. And they found that a large number, I don't know exactly the number, were people tied to the Pentagon. That was accidental. It was accidental. It just landed back there. Then there were more people coming up with different weird reaction. Like the director of the DSS, right? I think it was the Defense Security Services, which is basically they review people's computer. And he was like, I'm shocked by the amount of child porn I see on these computers. But he was shocked because even Child Protective Services are ranking this networking of the DOD as a top tier network where child porn is being shared. It is extremely disturbing to know that they are this pedophilia centric. And it's not only the DOD, but intelligence community has their own issue with pedophilia. So this whole world that this trash are in is pedophilia central. This is not things that I'm making up. If you have doubts, go look Bill S-1413. I think it was introduced on May 2019. And it died in December 2020. This is real. Go look into what is Operation Flicker. The Globe wrote wrote an article about them. Go look at this 2018 ranking of child porn network. You'll see DOD ranked as 19th out of 2,875, 2,900. That says super, out of almost 3,000, 19. This is crazy. It's really the DOD. The DOD. We're talking about DARPA. I'm not making that up. Now to find out that this piece of shit have utilized these tactics and manipulate the brain these ways and now what we're doing, we're investigating. It's trash. Really? Imagine the biggest fucking pedophiles telling you, no, we mapped your brain. They are top tier pedos. And they've been normalizing these ways. And they're grooming these bottom feeders, who some of them are children, to be okay with these things. And try to sound fierce. So these tactics, it's disturbing that they're using these tactics to break us down. But it's even more disturbing that these people are definitely not people who care about children. And some of these people involved in this program are people who work with children. These people who are in fields where children protection is what they need to be doing. But they're in the brain of people manipulating us to think this way while they're working for entities where pedophilia is such an issue that they tried to pass a bill that was not even, they didn't pass. But it would have been a step to the right to kind of slow things down. And their job is to rewire your brain, manipulate your brain to think about children these ways. And then try to gaslight you into accepting that you're not being manipulated by what we're doing. It's just we're matching you, make you think this way. You felt like that, when in reality, everything's just changed. They're rewiring you day by day. This program is about controlling people. It's about manipulation of people. It's way past trying to figure you out. They know you already. The stage, since August 19, 2019, it's been the stage of just changing who you are. Making you experience new things that you will not experience. Have a new version of you. Give reactions that you will not experience naturally. But because these people are there, they manipulate you 24/7. To be something that you're not. To react some way that you will not react naturally. And some of the things like, no, but you reacted like that maybe when you were a kid. We're making you think that when you were a kid. You understand who's being ranked top tier pedophiles. And they're like, no, what we're doing, we're making your brain be like a child. And try to make you believe different ways when you've been validated in so many ways that these ways of manipulation is been testified by others. It's been validated by others, saying the same thing, calling it pedophilia type of torture. What do you think they do? People who are working for entities where pedophilia is such an issue, they try to pass a bill to stop that. Even Child Protective Services are calling them out on it, saying that this is a problem that needs to be looked at. It's so overwhelming nastiness happening in this DOD. A bill is needed to slow these things down, to stop these things out, or to prevent these kind of things. But the DOD is so overwhelmed that they can't do anything. Most of these people they're catching, they can't do nothing to them. Very little, like a small percentage are persecuted. And some of them is so nasty, even doing things to 2-year-old and 6-year-old. No persecution. No, just maybe fired. Okay, he's going to move on working somewhere else. Work wherever he wants. This is disgusting. And you have this trash who are manipulating your brain while you're watching 2 adult men and a woman, and then somehow just kind of relate back to babies, to kids. And then when you're climaxing, changing your brain and like changing your thoughts at the last minute in your climax to condition you in these ways. And it's like, now we mapped it. That's how you think when you're a kid. What? Oh my gosh. Please. You are just disgusting me and disturbing me. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I don't even like to do what I'm doing when I watch it. I hate the feeling, even naturally, when it's me, just like any other person. Watching adult content it's not a good feeling. I'm not talking about when they manipulate you, when they do just I don't like that. It makes me feel bad. I don't feel good. I feel ugh, right? It makes me feel. You see, you hear that a lot. Like most of us, when you don't feel good when you experience that. No, not when you experience that, but when you watch adult content and it's like well, like it kind of puts you down. I don't like that. But it's better than dealing with the nasty way they manipulate my libido. And when I'm watching adult content and then when I'm climaxing, they put in these nasty, disgusting thoughts of babies. That is just, ugh. That is like torturous. It's this. But I'm never going to look at these torturous tactics of tormenting me as if it's me. This is them trying to break me down. But like I said, I'm not perfect. The real me, my real imperfection, I don't like that. I don't like watching adult content and, I don't like that. It makes me feel, ugh, just like most people. But these people even ruined that. But adding, putting babies in my head in the time of my climax. So, to know that the people who do that have had issues with pedophilia and are training your brain to think about children in these disgusting ways, when child protective services have called them out, like let me say, call them out for being a place where pedophilia and child pornography is rampant. That yes, there's 45 million child porno abusive images of children, but the DOD is top tier. That something needs to be done for those entities, and those are the same entities running this program that is manipulating men and women in these disgusting ways to make you think about children in these disturbing ways, even while you are in the state of sexual, moments, sexual activities, where even when I'm with a woman, they will do things to make me think, like they make me think of children while I'm climaxing. And then try to sound fierce via V2K. You hear these bottom fears who try to present themselves as this like fierce femme fatale. You're just a low-life bottom fears working for pedophiles. Sold your soul and your children's soul to pedophiles. And then try to be fierce. You nasty bottom feeders. I'm glad that you're living your life doing these things. Continue to do this on holidays, on your birthdays, on everybody's birthday, on New Year's, and please. Did you not? So you're disgusting. And you know what? The truth is, it's funny. This website is called childexploitation.com because they even exploit their own children. Parents letting their kids involving themselves in this nastiness from entities where pedophilia is running rapid. Why you even look at yourself? Right now, to counter this, the mental battles I'm having is a mental battle of just childlike individuals. But they even exploiting their own babies, their own kids. For example, the baby, the little girl that make me think when I'm like, when I'm climaxing, is a baby from the next door neighbor. So sad, this little girl. The neighbor brought her purposely, made sure that I saw his baby, so that they can later on do these nasty things to me. Then now I'm watching adult content, an adult and a woman, while I'm climaxing, making me think of this kid, and then start playing my sphincter, contracting it, to give me stimulation, to train me to think about his baby like that. These people is so disgusting. They sold their own children to these pedos. And then try to paint it as some fierce ways of breaking people down. No, it's not. It's disgusting, especially when you know that the entities are filled with pedophiles. You nasty lowlife. I'd rather die in hell than live my life doing what you do. And you know they torture children. There is nothing that can be done to me to change this reality. So to all my target individuals, stay strong. We are validated. We are dignified. I'm not perfect. You hear what I talked about me watching adult content. Didn't feel good it doesn't feel good to do that. Even before August 19, 2019, I always kind of didn't like that feeling of after doing that. But now it's another level of disturbing because now they're forcing me to think about children in my climaxing moments, which is disgusting. But at the same time, it's like I'm never going to identify with these nasty, disturbing things they implant in my brain during this time. So to all my target individual, stay strong. Because we're dignified. We're not perfect. But man, can you imagine living that life? Can you imagine? This is the things you have to do on holidays. Now, for me, I don't care. Do on holidays, your birthday. But I'm like, don't you see that, how nasty it is? But I'm just thankful that this is not the life lived. So to all my target individual, Merry Christmas, and understand that you're lucky. You could be living their life.